So let's again select another image, this time apple, click on predict, and it's pomegranate. Let's select image, this time cat, Siamese cat. So let's click on capture this time, and I'll just show it my let's show the speaker actually. Let's click on capture, click on this, and click on tick, and say predict, and it's handballer. Hi, so today we are going to learn how to create a Android app and deploy a deep learning model on it, which will be a tflite model. I will just cover everything step by step, so let's start the video. So we are going to code this using the Java language. So let's start by opening the Android Studio real quick, and let's create a new project, and I'm going to call this my app as image classify. Alright, after a few seconds our Android Studio is ready to go. So first of all, I'll going to create the UI part of this, then we are going to code it. So let's go to the split view over here, and the text view, let's just get rid of this, and I'm going to use relative layout. Alright, so relative layout, for a reason it is easy and simple to work with. So first of all, we are going to have a text view, and width will be wrap content. Height, let's give about 40 dp, and let's give it text. It will be a title, actually nothing much about it. So image classify, let's give this id as title. It will be useful later on, you will see where. And let's give a text size also real quick, of about, let's say 30 dp. That's it, looks good. Let's give text alignment as center. Right, it didn't work actually. We have to give width of match parent. Yeah, that's it. So it looks good over here, and let's give a margin top just a little bit, about 20 dp. That's it. Now we'll have a image view to show the image, whatever the image user have selected. So it will be 200 dp by 200 dp, nothing much about it, and it'll be layout below the title view which we have already created. So it will be like this, and again we are going to give this id as image view. We are going to use it for later on. Now we have the image view over here. We want to center this, so to center we'll just set a property called horizontal center. Center horizontal, we'll just set it true. So over here we have the image view. Let's give a margin top real quick, about 20 dp. That's it, everything looks good, fine over here. Let's stop this, and now we'll have a button to select the image, and this time we'll say wrap content and wrap content for the height and width. And let's give a text as select image, and this will be below to our image view. That's it. Let's give this id also. So let's give the id select button, and let's give margin top real quick, about 20 dp. It's fine. And let's center this horizontal center by giving center horizontal property and set it as true. That's it. Let's real quick close this, and similarly we'll have two more buttons. You see just why we need them. Alright, so I have copied this two more times. Let's first change the id of this. This will be our predict button. Sorry, let's first create a capture button, and let's give the name also, or text also, as capture button, and this will be below to our select button in this way. And similarly we'll have a predict button. Let's give text as the predict button. Sorry, the predict button will be the id, and it will be below to our select button, capture button. So that's it, we have our three buttons, one for selecting the image, one for capturing the image from our camera, and one for doing the prediction part. And finally we'll have our text view below to this predict button to show the results. So I'll just quickly copy this text view instead of writing it one more time. So I'll just copy it and paste at the end, and I'll give it id as result, and it will be below, so layout below to our predict button. That's it, here we have, and the text will be actually result, and let's change the size to 20 dp approximately. That's it, looks fine to me. Let's change the text of these buttons real quick, capture, and it will be predict. Alright, so this is our basic layout with which we are going to work. If you want to change, just feel free. I just want to be very simple for the layout. So now we will just code for first the select image button, then we will code our capture button, then we will code our predict button. Then of course the result will be shown after the predict button over here. So first of all, let's code our select button. So just let's go to main activity, and first we are going to declare our all of the buttons. So button first is our select button, then we have our predict button, then we have our capture button. This red thing showing over here, just have to press option and return or alt and enter. Now we have our text view, one for the result, so we'll just say result, and we also gonna need a bitmap for this to store the image for the prediction part. So we have the bitmap over here. That's it, looks fine up till over now. So first let's initialize all of these buttons. So select button will be find view by id r.id.select button, let's semicolon, and let's copy this two more times. So we have our predict button and we have our capture button. Let's change the IDs real quick, predict button, capture button. That's it. Now we have our result text view, find view by id r.id.result. Of course we need our image view also, so let's create a image view real quick and let's initialize it over here. Find view by id r.id.image view. That's it. So now first we are going to handle what happened when select image button is pressed. So let's handle this real quick. So we have our button called select button, so we'll just set on click listener. With name itself is clear what would happen if somebody clicks on it. So we are going to create a new interface. It will be something like this. So we are going to implement this on click listener interface. So what happens when the button is pressed, we want to open a new activity which contain list of all the images present on your device. That's all we want to do. So for that we have to create a intent. So let's real quick create a new intent, and the purpose or the action of this intent would be to get the content from your device. So let's semicolon this over here, and we'll just set the action of this intent. So set action, what will be the action? Intent dot get content, action get content. So what type of content we want to get? So we'll say set type, also set type as image. That's it. So we want to select the content which is of type image. So now we are going to start this start activity. For result we want the results also, so we are just going to pass, first we need the content resolver. So this dot get forgot what parameters we have to pass. So first the intent actually, so just pass the intent, and then we need the request code. So request code could be anything integer, so let's give 10 over here. Alright, so now once you have started this intent, there will be a function which will be called once the intent is completed. So at that time when the intent is completed, we want to capture the data and we want to store that data into our bitmap variable, which will be the image. So let's get out of this on create function, and there is a function called on activity result. So we are going to override this function, and in this data variable our data will be, and this is the request code. So from this you could guess that not only this function could call this on activity result, there could be some other functions in your code which might call this on activity result. So we first have to check if request code is equal to our request code, which is 10 in our case, and if that's so, then we will check if the data is not null, if data is not equal to null. Now in that case we want to capture the image from that location. So first we'll create a URI, I guess it's uniform resource indicator, I guess. So just hit option and enter to import this. So from this data we'll just say get data. That's it. Now we want to capture the image into our bitmap. So there is a class called media store dot images dot media dot get bitmap, and you have to pass the content resolver. So this dot get content resolver, and pass the URI which we have just created. That's it. This is how you get the bitmap from the location. So first you have to surround this with try and catch. So now we will just set our bitmap image view. So we'll say image view dot set image bitmap. Let's pass this bitmap real quick over here. That's it, looks fine to me. So if we run our app up till over here, you should be able to see something. So let's run and wait for a moment. There you go, we have our app over here. So This is the UI which we wanted. So let's click on the select image button, and we have all the images on our device. So if I select this image, we have the image on our image view. So so far so good, everything is working fine as expected. So let me just close this so that it just don't crash my computer or laptop. So I'll just click over here. Now we have handled the select image button. Now we will handle the capture button. So for capture, we want the permission of camera. So we want to access the camera in this case. So let's open the manifest file of our app, and coming over here, we just give a permission, use this permission of camera. Let's do this. Now we want to handle the permission, so we will have to ask the user for the permission about the camera. So how could we do that? So we'll come over here. So I'll just create a function so that it don't create mess over here. So first of all, the control comes on create function, then it will call get permission function. Create a function out of this on create function. This will be of void and name is get permission. Doesn't take anything. Over here we'll first check if the permission is already granted or not. So check if the permission is already granted or not, there is a function check self permission. Let's hit enter, and in that you have to pass the permission which you want to check. So to get the permission, there is a class manifest dot permission dot camera permission, and we have to check if this is not equal to package manager dot permission granted. So if this is not equal to permission granted, we want to do something. We are getting some error. Okay, so yeah, one thing I just forgot is that it require the SDK version should be greater than equal to m, I guess marshmallow. So we just surround it with this if statement, very easy. Now we check if the permission is not granted. We want the user to give the permission. So there is a activity compat dot request permission and main activity dot this. In this activity we want to request the permission. Now you have to give the list of the array of all the permissions you want. So we have new string array, and in this we will initialize it with, we want the permission as manifest dot permission dot camera permission. We want the camera permission, and after that you have to give the request code. So this time let's give 11. Alright, so once you call this request permission, similar to this on activity result, there is a function on request permission result. So you have to override this to handle if the user have denied or accepted it, the request or not. So it's very easy. So you first have to check if your request code matches with your desired request code or not. So in this case it's 11. If it is 11, then we want to check if the list of permission or grant result is greater than 0, meaning there is something in it. So if grant result dot length is greater than 0, and in our activity we are just requesting only one permission, so of course the 0th index will be for the camera. So we'll check if permissions 0 grant results 0. If grant results 0 is equal package manager dot permission granted. If it is equal to permission granted, then we don't want to do anything, of course. If it is not equal to permission granted, we want to again call get permission. That's it. I guess this should do the work. And now once we have the permission to access the camera, it's just one step away to request to open the camera and select capture the image by the user. So we have the button called capture button. Let's come in over here, set on click listener, and in that we'll say new view dot on click listener, and in this we want to create a new intent similar to we have created previously. So intent equal to new intent, and this time it will be media store dot action image capture. We want to capture the image. Now we'll again say start activity for results, and in this time we'll pass this new intent and the request code, of course. Let's give 12. So previously we had 10, now we are having 12. Again this function will be called on activity result if the request code is 10, meaning the user have selected the image. If request code equal to 12, meaning the user have captured the image and the image is stored in this data variable. So it will be this time very easy, bitmap equal to data dot get. Yeah, so you have to say data dot get extras dot get, and in that you have to pass data. and this should be typecasted to bitmap. I guess this should do the work. Now we'll say our image view dot set bitmap to our newly created bitmap. That's it. Let's try to run this app one more time, and this time we have our camera. So let's run this. Alright, so far so good. It is asking for the permission. Let's give while using the app, and we have got the permission. Let's click on capture and let's cross the finger and hope that it works. Yeah, it is working actually. So let me just capture the image and click on tick. Yes, it is working. Okay, so it is working without any errors. So far so good. Now we just have to implement the predict button. So I'll just again close my emulator so that it don't get consume my RAM in the background. Alright, so now only part left is implement the predict button, but still there is a lot to do. We have to load the model and load the labels.txt file. You just see how to do, very easy. So predict button, come in over here, you just implement it like this. Predict button dot set on click listener, new view dot on click listener. Let's stop it over here. First let's import the model. So you just have to go on file, new, other, TensorFlow Lite model. So I will leave a link to the TensorFlow Lite model in down description. You will if you go to that link, you will get two files, this .tflite file and .txt file. So just download it and come in over here and just click on this file browser icon, locate this file wherever it is, double click on this and click on finish. So it should take some time. In your case, I have already downloaded some backend libraries, so it didn't took so long. Now once you have loaded the model, click on this Java and copy this all code. I will explain it, don't worry. Copy this all code and come to this predict button. This is where all the code comes in over here. Now come over here, click option return. Come in over here, click option return. In your case, in Windows case, it might be alt enter, just type. Now again option and return. So in place of context, you have to give main activity dot this, and in byte buffer, this is where you pass your image. It's very easy. Now to convert your bitmap to byte buffer, it is just matter of few words, keywords. You just have to say tensor image. Alright, so actually I got some problem. So let's come in back over here, load buffer and say tensor image. And if this tensor image doesn't auto import in your case, just make sure you import this library or class like this. So dot tensor image dot from bitmap, pass this bitmap, and to convert this tensor image to buffer is just get buffer. That's it. But before that, our bitmap could be of any shape, could be maybe depending on your camera resolution or the image if you have downloaded. But when you import your model, make some prediction that image has to be of height and width, and the RGB channel should match the images on which our model is trained. So to do that, we have to convert or create or resize our bitmap. So for that, again very easy, bitmap dot create scaled bitmap and pass this bitmap and give the size you want. So 2 to 4, 2 to 4 and filter to true. That's it. Now we have resized our image to 224 by 224, no matter what size it is. Now it should be able to do the prediction and store the results in output features dot output feature 0. But let's see first what is happening. So you see, remember we have imported our modelnet.tflite file over here. So it somehow creates a class of this same name and creates a new instance of this in our main activity. And this tensor buffer is just something which is passed to our model, and input features 0 is the name of this tensor buffer variable we have created. So as I said, this have a fixed height, width and color channel to take as input, and to give the output, the result is stored in output features 0. So let's extract the output feature 0 results, and this will be of tensor buffer format, but we want to convert it to float array. So to do that again, it is very easy. So for that you just have to say output features 0 dot get float array, I guess get float array, yeah, get float array. And now you can index 0, 1, 2 or up to 1000 classes it can classify, as we have already discussed. So you can do this, and you can say result view. We have our result dot set text, and you can pass this like this. So it should classify, it should output the confidence associated with that class. Now this is not something we want. We want the maximum confidence class. Every class 0 to 1000 should have some confidence, but we want maximum confidence. That is our predicted class. So let's just basically create a getMax function which just takes this whole array, float array, and gives us out the maximum class of it. So let's create a, and it returns the index actually. Yeah, so let's do one thing. Let's just return the index of it. So in that case you will see, in if in future we need, you see that how we use that. So let's say int getMax, and it takes the float array, something like this, float arr. Let's pass this. Let's create a simple code. Int I equal to 0, I is less than arr dot len length, and I plus plus. Let's create a int max as 0, arr I is greater than arr max, then set max equal to I and return max. That's it. This should do the work, and we can pass this to our output feature float array again. Actually let's just return the index. That's all, I guess. So if now I run this, it should work very fine. Okay, so let's select the image. Let's select this and click on predict, and it is 790. So let me just open that labels file over here real quick, and let's go to 790 index. That 791, since the index start encoding, it starts from 0. So in this listing it starts from 1, so we have to say +1. So it's shoji something, whatever. So we just have one step, we are just one step away to complete this app, is to load this labels.txt and pass this index and get the class of our label. So again it's very easy, not much task to do left. So we just have to create a list or array of all the classes. It will be a string type array, so we'll just create it over here. So let's create a string. That's it. Let's create a count. You'll see why we need it. Now we want to first come in our project, come to this and open this in your finder. In the app and in the source and in the main, you have to create a new folder. Let's call this folder assets, and in that assets you have to copy that file, this labels.txt, and let's rename this file labels. That's it. Now come back to over here, and you should see this assets folder over here. Once you have this in assets labels.txt, come back to over here. You have to create a new buffer reader. Let's call this buffered reader equal to new buffered, and this takes input stream reader, and in that you have to pass, actually it will be new input stream reader, it's a class, so you have to create the object, and in that you have to access your get assets dot open your labels.txt. That's it. I guess you have to surround this with try and catch. Yes, so you have opened it using buffered reader, and by using buffered reader we will just read line by line everything, and we will keep on incrementing the this cnt variable. So let's create a new string, and this will store our current line. String line equal to currently this, actually let's just say buffered reader dot read line. So while this line is not equal to null, we will say label is it why. Okay, so we have to initialize it, and the size would be 1001 categories are classified, and this cnt over here we have to increment this cnt now, and finally we will just again read the line for the next iteration. That's it. This should do the task, and then finally for making the prediction we will pass this through the labels txt. That's all. Let's run this one more time, and this time we should have the class of the predicted image. Okay, so let's click on select image, select the image and click on predict button, and we have the shoji over here. Let's go to Google Chrome and download some pics, and I'll get back to you. Alright, so I have downloaded 3 images and transferred it to my emulator. So let's click on select image, and it is still not showing. Let's go to downloads. Yes, let's select this image and click on predict, and it says that Ibizenhound, whatever it is. So let's come in over here. Ibizenhound dog. Actually it's making some predictions. That's the main motive of this. So the predictions actually depend on how good your model is. The main goal of this video was to show you how to deploy your model. So let's again select another image, this time apple, click on predict, and it's pomegranate. Let's select image, this time cat, Siamese cat. So let's click on capture this time, and I'll just show it my let's show the speaker. Actually, let's click on capture, click on this, and click on tick, and say predict, and it's handballer. Actually it's just wait a minute, I guess now it should be fine. Okay, let's click on capture now. Yes, let's click on tick. Let me change the, click on predict. It's punching bag. Actually it is kind of punching bag. Yes, it is kind of looking like punching bag. Actually it's making good predictions. It all depends on your model how good it is. So we have implemented to select the image from the local device, we have implemented to capture the device via our camera, we have implemented to load your model and make the prediction, and we have implemented to load the external .txt file and create the labels.txt out of it. So that was the main purpose of this video. In case you have any problems, you may just comment down in down description. And if your app is crashing, I just want to show you something. So if your app is crashing, one thing I would recommend you to do, that just run your app. So like this is my app, right? Open the log cat right below over here. So do whatever functioning you want to do. So let's say if I am selecting this image, so if after selecting this image your app is crashed, there might be some red warning error should be showing over here, and after from reading of these lines you should get an idea which line in your code is causing the problem and what error it is. Still, if it is not clear, you may comment down in the description. Maybe I could help you to get out of it. So that's it for this video. I will catch you in the next video. Plus if you want any specific topic, just let me know in down description. I'll create video about that also. So that's it. Goodbye. See you in the next video.